let us explore 2 points. First of all, why and how we take something personally. I want to challenge that concept, and also that nothing ever happens or happened in life. One hopefully will flow into the other, but let's see what happens. So, we only ever have our experience in life. So if somebody does something to us or says something to us that we take personally, we are mistaken. If somebody is rude to us or disrespectful to us or does something that we don't approve of or doesn't do something that we would have expected them to do or hoped that they would do, all of these situations are never personal. It's only a story that creates the idea that it should be different to how it is. It's our expectations that create a dissatisfaction with what's happened. But in truth, whatever somebody has done or hasn't done, or said or hasn't said, it's only ever about them. We are each having our own experience. And the reasons they have or haven't done that, or have or haven't said that, is nothing to do with you. Let's see if we can tackle a fairly meaty, very personal and emotive subject to get into the crux of this personal claiming that we all experience in life. So, if a loved one has been murdered, then obviously it would be deeply emotionally crushing. And certainly one of the hardest experiences to deal with personally in life. Now, firstly, there is the experience of losing somebody, and then there are all the stories on top of that that create so many obstacles in the way of us experiencing what is our experience and only our experience. So, if we've lost a loved one, then that is our experience. How they were lost, what their experience was, and who did it are all stories layered onto our personal experience. You can understand them being layered. If somebody's been murdered, it's an incredibly distressing and upsetting, perhaps maybe the most distressing and upsetting experience possible. But the moment we start buying into the stories that are added on to our experience personally, we are disconnecting from our own grief. It makes it impossible for us to be present with what we've experienced. And if you become very familiar and intimate with your mind, you'll understand when it is presenting things that aren't your experience. Otherwise, if there's a systematic belief of everything that's presented to us, then we are a prisoner to our mind. Everything we experience through the mind imprisons us into believing that it's true. But whatever's happened to something or somebody, it's happened without a personal doer doing it. If, for example, somebody is murdered, then that murderer, there is only the appearance that murderer has chosen to murder somebody. Their life experience has led them to the point of committing murder, and only their experience in life, the exact trillion things that have led them to this very moment of committing murder. There was no choice. They were literally acting out what was meant to be acted out. They were simply just playing out their role as a murderer. The person that was killed was playing out their role of being murdered. And we are playing out our role of being the griever and, in our own way, the victim of what's happened. Now, I don't mean this to be in any way unfeeling or insensitive, but actually just challenge the reality of life and challenge our personal claiming of things that appear to happen to us. And so, if the murderer is doing exactly what it is meant that they do, because if we were in their shoes and experienced life exactly as they've experienced, and in fact, to be honest, experienced, and life has flowed from the point of the beginning of time, we would have no choice but to do exactly what has been done by them. And I'm using the term has been done because, on a relative basis, it appears that they have done it. But when we realise that life is just flowing and none of it is being chosen by us personally, it's only the mind that wants to claim that it is personally doing anything. And this comes from a separation from our true self, and then the mind wants to, because of the disconnection, and because there's no sense of self within the mind's creation, that it wants to create a sense of who we are from our experiences. And so it has no choice but to take everything personally, because without that, there is no us, there is no mind, and it creates its existence based on what life is presenting to us. But in truth, nothing is ever happening. There's only the appearance of something happening. If we break that down a little bit, so our true nature is untouched by everything that ever happens in life. We are intangible. We are the intangible foundation of everything that appears tangible. We are the non-physical. Presence within all physical. And from this absolute experience of our true nature, nothing ever happens. There's only the witnessing of a reflection of life. That is welcomed and observed with great beauty, but it is only an imaginary playing out in physical form. We are no thing in which everything is appearing. And so the absolute truth of who we are is that nothing ever happened. And from this untouched neutrality, beautifully allowing, blissfully conscious existence, we are the witnessing awareness of everything that appears to be happening. And so from this place of beautiful allowance, nothing can ever be taken as serious, as personal, as serious. Probably true as well. Nothing can ever be taken as personal. I love that. It's very hard to take something personally when you're not taking it seriously. And so if anything's received or experienced as personal, then we know we're in a story. And the ultimate story that every other story comes from is the story that creates a false sense of self. And if we're able to challenge this story and abide beyond all stories, then this is our true nature. This is experiencing life as life itself. Beyond all claiming, and beyond all reactions, beyond all wounds, and beyond all mental resistance. This true self is constantly observing all of life. We all have glimpses of our true self. It is the stillness, the silence between all that moves and all that is audible. It is the non-physical within all physical. It is the intangible within all tangibility. And all that gets in the way of you being your true self and being eternally complete is our stories. Every story comes from the mind's first story. That we are a person experiencing life personally.